Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when this finds you. Just want to do a quick one right here because we've heard the phrase, I'm pretty sure all of us have heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. And that phrase has been attributed to being an African proverb, but in reality, it's not. No one actually knows what this phrase originated. In one culture over in Africa, there's a proverb that says that a child does not grow up only in a single home. Another one talks about a child does not belong to one parent of home. And there's another one that says, regardless of a child's biological parents, the upbringing belongs to the community. And then in Swahili, said whoever is not taught by the mother will be taught was it with the world or by the world, something like that. And out of the four cultures that I just mentioned, Swahili was the only one I could pronounce. And these are African proverbs, the African proverb. But in reality, I get what these cultures are saying. When I was growing up, the neighbors would watch you and your activities. And, the neighbors would feed you if you were, playing with one of their children. The neighbors would also discipline you if you got out of line. But taking on the idea that it becomes the responsibility of the village to help raise your child was has a little different origin, I guess. Your child's upbringing does not belong to the community. Yeah, we don't grow up in a single home because we develop friendships with other children and uh, and spend time possibly playing at their homes as well. But I believe in Swahili they got it right. When the mother's not raising a child, the world will raise it for the family. And we see what type of job the world has done, regardless of race, background, or culture. I mean, look at all of our young black boys and girls involved in the current store lootings around this country and the robberies, smash and grab and jug, this process they call jug and all of this type of stuff. I mean, look at all of the young white males who participate in what they term mass shootings. And see, the thought that the village should raise a child actually comes out of socialist and communist thought. You know that, huh? You see, Karl Marx and Fred Engels, his buddy, and they were said to be the actual promoters of this, while at the same time being in total opposition to their families following this thought process. Now, if you read any of Karl Marx's writings, you would see that he did not believe in divorce originally. In person, didn't believe in abolishing the family. Like I said, that was at the beginning. See, Marx then started to think about abolishing the family until he was exposed to some things when he spent some time in Paris, and he got exposed to a guy named Charles Fourier. He was a Frenchman. And if you've read my book, but hey, what do I know? You would see the name Charles Fourier listed in there. And Fourier was the one that introduced something called philanthropy to society. Philanthropy is a building, a structure that houses several family units together as one. They share and use all the same amenities as a collective. Um, that's kind of like apartments, military barracks, condominiums, and things like that, where the structures are attached, duplexes. I guess a duplex could be two separate houses, but you get the idea. And these buildings actually were sectioned off based on what activities were being performed in those buildings. If you wanted quiet time, that was a place. It was a dining hall. Kind of like we see in military uh, when we go to college and things like that. Where everybody in the school, kind of eat in the same cafeteria. When you go to regular school, I mean, because I guess even a regular school could be considered a philanthropy because you got one big place where all the children and the staff eat, and the teachers have to lord over the children like, prison guards while eating. Speaking of prison, you look at prisons, all the people housed together, one big dining hall, one place where they go and have outdoor activity, and a place where they go and have indoor activity. They have a library now. So that's quiet time, library, quiet time wherever you are, school, prison, university, it doesn't matter. Hospitals, hospital is in essence a philanthropy because they have kitchen, they have libraries, they have gyms. So you get the idea. So the noisy area, they had a place where they called for noisy activities, like work. And the noise area, was another section off where children were sent to play because they were considered noisy. They were considered loud. And the place, they also had a place for meeting rooms. And if any of those places are, schools have meeting rooms, hotels have meeting rooms, and hotel could fall into the process of a philanthropy, because they have, where you go down for your breakfast. They have dining halls. They have a separate gym. They have a pool. I mean, you get the idea. So, they had a place for meeting rooms and ballroom and a few other things. And see, and just so you know, if you were a visitor or an outsider to these places, you actually had to pay a fee to get in. And Furrier actually got the idea from the military. So Furrier didn't believe a person should own anything, and each family should live with one another, because if we separated family units, they would actually become too competitive and argue with one another. But if he believed if you had one system in place, everybody would get along. Well, that ain't gonna happen regardless of what you do, because you got too many mentalities. I remember a friend of mine said, all the problems in the world would disappear if we just got rid of all the people. And see, Furrier, looking at this, is I would say he would be the originator of the phrase "you will own nothing and be happy." Like the current WEF founder Klaus Schwab said, actually said those words: "You will own nothing and be happy." But Furrier didn't say it that way. But if you study him and all, you will more than likely come to the same conclusion. See, Furrier thought process and ideas were instrumental in the socialist movement over in France during the 1830s and 40s. And Furrier said we also needed more sexual latitude. Do we not have that than what marriage offered? I mean, you got people out here, you got the show Sister Wives, you got people in open relationships, you got people open marriages, where they free willing sexually and all this other stuff. And so he said we needed that type of latitude, more than what marriage offered. And as I stated in a prior video, the topics I'm addressing may seem to have nothing to do with black issues, but you would be sadly mistaken if you think that. See, why do you think the assault has been on Black America the way it has? Why did they separate the fathers and mothers from the children on the slave ships? Why did they move the male studs from plantation to plantation after producing more illegitimate children? Why did they keep black parents from learning? Why did they do everything they could to stop blacks from prospering after slavery? Why did they create the public school system to take black children away from being educated by the mothers and the church? Why did they work so hard to include black women in the feminist movement? Why did they work so hard to convince black women that they didn't need their men in the home for them to achieve solid family units and success? Why did they encourage our women to abort their babies with Roe versus Wade? Why have they historically done whatever they could to make sure no thriving black communities survived? Why do they deny business loans of black American faces? Why do they encourage more black women toward business ownership than our men? Why do they pay blacks at lower rates than everybody else? And that's everybody. Why do they lock our black men up at unprecedented rates? Now, I'm not talking about those thugs out there. I'm talking about those men who are locked up that are actual productive members of the community who have committed no crimes. Why do they lock our black men up for marijuana, but they legalize the sale of marijuana for themselves by calling it medical? See, all of the questions I just asked, I already know the answers to. It was to destroy the black family. It was to destroy the seed of Judah. It was to destroy the seed of Jacob. It was to destroy the seed of Isaac. It was to destroy the seed of Abraham. Why? Because the seed of Esau lost their birthright to Jacob, and since Esau never recaptured the birthright, in some cases their families have never recovered, and that's why they participate in theft, murder, deceit, looting, war, and blasphemy. They want to destroy the black family. And I will explain to you why the black family has been the target of destruction. It's because the black family has historically been the strongest, with the strongest family bonds, with the best forms of discipline, with the best intellectual capacities as a whole, and the strongest and most powerful men. Why do you think black men, as well as every other man, is attacked through his woman? The weakness of a man is his woman. Not any woman, his woman. Any woman can be a weakness for males. One particular woman is the only weakness of a man. You see, in 1 Peter 3 and 7, it says the wife is weaker. It never says she was weak. It says she was weaker. That means the man also has weakness. Talk to you later.